Arsenal are quickly closing in on 20 years without a Premier League title, and they've not made the top four since finishing second to Leicester in 2016. However, their blistering start to the 2022 season has attracted a lot of attention. Legends of the sport like Wenger believe they're in with a chance of winning the Premier League title, but others disagree and say it's definitely going home with City again. Join us as we reveal the Premier League superstar that agrees with Wenger and who thinks their form is about to dip. Arsenal has made a brilliant start to the season with 18 points from a possible 21 so far, putting them at the top of the Premier League table. The legendary ex-boss Wenger believes Mikel Arteta's side has a good chance of winning the league due to the lack of genuine opposition. It might be too soon, but the club is technically the top contender to win the league. Liverpool have been expected to be among title challengers after narrowly missing out by a single point last year. However, Jurgen Klopp's side failed to strengthen their midfield and limped out of the gate this season. Chelsea has chopped and changed their manager already, while Manchester United is a dark horse. Erik ten Hag has guided United to 4 back-to-back wins. This is definitely positive, but we don't think they'll be challenging for the next 1 or 2 years. That puts the focus squarely on Man City and the North London pair, Arsenal and Tottenham. Of the trio, Arsenal have the distinct advantage of not being in the Champions League. They have a Europa League campaign to juggle, though that is a competition that can be navigated without playing your best players. The same cannot be said for the Champions League. Speaking to Sky Sports, Arsenal legend and 3-time Premier League winner Arsene Wenger explained why Arsenal has an excellent shot at topping the table this year. Firstly, the Frenchman claimed there was no one standout team. That's despite Man City winning 4 of the last 5 titles and signing the unstoppable Erling Haaland. Secondly, Wenger claimed the unique disruption of a mid-season World Cup could have unforeseen effects. When asked how long it'll take before the Gunners are challenging for league titles once again, Wenger responded, "I would say they have a good chance this season. I don't see any super dominating team. I believe there's a good opportunity this season to do it. Overall, I believe there's a good opportunity this season." Prior to his Premier League prediction, Wenger also spoke about the job Mikel Arteta is performing. The Spaniard played under Wenger during his latter years at the club and even captained the side. Arteta has been bold in many of his decisions thus far, including dropping and then ousting skipper and top earner Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang last winter. That is a decision that looks to have paid off, and Wenger has liked what he's seen from Arteta. Wenger said, "I personally think Mikel Arteta was very conscious of the values of the club because he's been educated at Arsenal. He'd been captain of my teams. He wanted to restore the values of the club, and overall I think he's done that well. I'm still in touch with him, and overall I believe they're going the right way." Wenger was the last manager to win the Premier League at Arsenal, going unbeaten in the 2003-04 season. However, the subsequent years haven't been kind to the Gunners, and they aren't even qualifying for the Champions League anymore, with their last top 4 finish coming in 2016. Wenger isn't the only one who thinks that Arsenal can win the Premier League. Speaking to Sky Sports News, Salah was asked which teams could challenge for the title this season alongside Liverpool. He said, "City, Arsenal and Chelsea are doing good. Of course, I didn't mention Liverpool because I always put us there. I've just said we want to win the Premier League." It's certainly high praise for Arteta's side, and Salah has clearly been impressed with what he's seen from the Gunners this season. Arsenal has already kept 2 clean sheets in their opening 3 games and have looked a real force so far. The Gunners have beaten Crystal Palace, Leicester City and Bournemouth comfortably. It's a stark contrast to where the Gunners found themselves after 3 games last season. Arteta's men had lost all 3 of their opening games without scoring a single goal. Now, Arsenal is being talked about as one of the teams that can challenge for the title this season. Speaking on his Vibe with 5 podcast on YouTube, Ferdinand said, "I think Man United have to write off the next year, or 2, and say we're going to rebuild, minimum." Brentford manager Thomas Frank is another person who stated that Arsenal is a likely contender for the title, after seeing his side comprehensively beaten by the Premier League leaders recently. He said, "They are top of the table, so you cannot argue with that. They have done brilliantly." Speaking in November 2020, Arsenal boss Mikel Arteta insisted a few transfer windows at least were needed at the North London club before they could mount a serious title challenge. A few windows have passed, and now with the addition of great players to the squad, Arsenal just might have a chance. Even Pep Guardiola thinks very highly of Mikel Arteta's Arsenal. Whenever the City boss has been asked about Arteta being under pressure, the message has always been the same: give him time and he will thrive. It may perhaps be unsurprising given their relationship, but Guardiola has gone out of his way to back his friend and former colleague, even when it has not been the popular thing to say or do. However, while some think Arsenal has a great shot at the title this year, others aren't so optimistic. Rio Ferdinand has claimed Manchester United are closer to winning the Premier League title than Arsenal is. He put Manchester City ahead of any other club as a contender for the league title. Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp is another person who thinks Manchester City will end up defending the title. Liverpool has enjoyed one of the most successful periods of their recent history under the German manager. However, the manager is remaining level-headed in his aspirations for next season and has revealed that winning the title isn't his priority and that he expects the Blues to retain the trophy. Manchester United legend Roy Keane has also asserted who has the best chance of winning the Premier League this year. Arsenal, Chelsea and Tottenham, along with Keane's old club, will be hoping to close the gap on the two dominant teams, Liverpool and Manchester City, but the Irishman doesn't believe they should get their hopes up. Keane stated, "I think they will be a bit better. They have quality and the recruitment, but you can't look beyond Liverpool and Man City." Jonathan Woodgate, a Premier League legend through and through, has hardcore views on who's going to win the Premier League. He explained that Manchester City won it last year without a striker, and now they've got Haaland, who is world class. Jonathan stated, "It's a no-brainer. They've improved, so they will win it again." He also said that Liverpool would miss Sadio Mane badly because he brought so much to the team with his closing down and his goals. Without him, he doesn't see the title race being as close as it was last season. Last season, no one thought Liverpool would be champions, and only 3 out of 20 pundits thought they would make the top 2. This time, only one pundit thinks they'll finish lower than second, and they're in everyone's top 3. Considering Liverpool's track record, it's not hard to imagine them screwing up their chances of winning the league. So, can Arsenal win the Premier League? Well, no. The reason is Manchester City, as mentioned by Premier League legends. They play brave attacking football based on the principles of their manager, while defensively are much more solid than they have been in some time. They're better at defending set pieces than at any point since the Invincible, and have become much more physically dominant with the arrivals of William Saliba and Gabriel Jesus. There's no doubt a top 4 spot is certainly achievable. Perhaps they slip up to Spurs and Liverpool, if Klopp can get the Reds firing on all cylinders again. But we saw against Manchester United that Arsenal are still a work in progress, that they're still not quite as decisive as they need to be when it really gets down to it. The meetings with Liverpool and Spurs will tell us more about them. But is it fair to assume that they can beat City, who have been champions in 4 of the last 5 seasons and now have Erling Haaland up top? No. City is the only contender for the Premier League, no two ways about it. What are your thoughts? Is Arsenal in with a legitimate shot at the title? Let us know in the comments.